Welcome everyone to Peer Professionals Leading Change. This presentation is about 365 peer recovery teaching transformation. Although some of you may have recognized we're in a leap year this year. So we have February 29th coming up. It's a Thursday this year. So next month it will be 366 days this year. Just to do a welcome, my name is Becky Brasfield. Good morning to some, good afternoon to others. I'm going to be your presenter for this session. I don't know if we have anyone that needs accommodations or is using closed captioning, but I will do a visual description. I'm a brown-skinned Black woman with brown hair pulled back. I'm wearing a white shirt. My background is black, gold, and white with starred banners against a white wall, and I'm wearing green and black glasses. All are welcome to attend this presentation. We are going to create a welcoming and supportive environment for everybody, dedicated to people who want to support peer and lived experience leadership, as well as mental health and recovery leadership, also for people that are not peers who may be attending this conference in terms of individual career and system transformation today, this year and beyond. So I see some familiar names in the participants. Hello to Krista, hello to Trinda, hello to everyone coming to this presentation today. Just to give you a little bit of a background on myself, I am a certified peer specialist based in Chicago, Illinois. Go Chicago. I work as a policy research assistant with Human Services Research Institute. They're based in Cambridge, Massachusetts, but I work remotely. And today we are going to focus on the peer workforce and leadership. So it's all about how you can lead change at an individual, collective, or systems level. Depending on how many people we get, we might break out into a really brief breakout session, but we might just stay as a group because sometimes we create a warm environment and we can just do that. So let's just jump into it. Okay, so again, this is what we're going to have as an overview of what we're going to discuss today. Okay, we're doing the introduction and welcome. We're going to discuss the objectives of this 365 individual and systems peer transformation. We're going to do a mini activity together, and then we may do a breakout or stay together. We'll still do that activity no matter what. We'll debrief and close if you all have some comments or questions or thoughts, things that come up for you about what you can do to lead this peer revolution. You know, we're getting ready for this next stage, and you all are here, so there's something in you that's emerging leadership, and we want to tap into what that is within you and get ready for those next steps in 2024 and beyond. Okay, just as a note, you may need something to write with or scribble down some things with if you're capable of writing, or have a blank Word document open, because I'm going to ask you some questions to kind of assess what you're interested in and what is coming up for you, but we'll get to that later. Okay, so I told you a little bit about myself. I gave you my name, Becky Brasfield, and I told you about being a peer policy researcher. Tell you a little bit about me. I have lived experience. You know, I like to say I've had the buffet of lived experience, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You know, I've been in institutions, I've been incarcerated, you know, I've been, you know, substance use recovery, mental health diagnoses, all kinds of fun stuff they love to make movies about and things like that. So I know I'm in good company because I went to presentations today and I was around a lot of people with lived experience who share similar not only experiences, but like I say, expertise from learning from those experiences and moving the field forward. So I have been a peer specialist, but also I work as a policy researcher because that's something that's very of interest to me. And so I think a lot of what advocates do is we not only use our experience, but we advocate, and you can do that in a lot of different ways. And also, I am a part-time caregiver. To those of you, shout out to the caregivers out there. It's a challenging experience, but as a person who once received care and still does receive care, it's wonderful to give back. Okay, So now we're talking about peer professionals leading change. So what is this 365 peer transformation? Okay, and I'm going to give you a foundation of what we're talking about. Some of you may have heard of Louise Byrne. She gave the keynote at the National Association of Peer Supporters annual conference this year. And her keynote, if you haven't seen it, it's on YouTube. You've got to see it. I highly recommend it. It's called Can Lived Experience Lead the Revolution? Okay, so if you have a moment in chat, I'd like you to share. When you hear that question, can lived experience lead the revolution? What do you think of? If you can just put it into chat, what comes up for you? Any thoughts? Can lived experience lead the revolution, right? Some people may be like, what revolution? Some people may be like, let's get this going forward. You know, it brings up a lot of different thoughts, right? Are we ready for a revolution? There's a journal that just put out a question to people with lived experience, service users, survivors, ex-patients, and said, you know, where is the movement going from here? We made all this progress, but what's next? You know, where is the next stage? And so we're going to tap into what's going on with you all and where do you see the leadership needing to go next? And there are leaders here today at this conference. Somebody has the ideas that are going to get us to that next step. So this slide is really just about how I came to this 365 peer transformation. I'll just summarize it for you. Basically, what it says is I started working in this drop-in center, and each day I would do these groups, and we were working day by day on peer transformation. And we were doing it one day at a time and talking about issues that were important to us. And we were seeing that personal is the political, is the advocacy, is the empowerment, is real movement and revolution. And so that's what we're going to talk about. Okay, let's get to the objectives. We have two today. One, focus on peer professional change at an individual level. Okay, one day at a time. Some people hear that in the recovery room. That's what the 365 or 366 is about, through personal development. The second objective is we're going to talk about peer professional change at a systems and institutional level, one day at a time, back to that 365, through professional development. Again, remember, the topic of this conference is the peer workforce, okay? And you see on the yellow part of the slide, it says, why is it important for the peer workforce to have a strategy for ongoing individual and systems progress? We're trying to move our recovery community forward. Maybe some of us have made progress, but there's still progress to be made, and some of us are getting left behind. Prevent setbacks and disempowerment in the field, and it's time to jumpstart the peer recovery movement. So we got to apply what is meaningful to us and tap into it, and that time is now. Okay, so here we go. This is the mini activity that's going to lead us to our discussion. First, I'm going to give you the background, and then we're going to get into it. Okay, so this is a pretty basic activity. Many of you have probably had this activity at some age level. It can be applied to a lot of different things, even corporate wants and needs. Okay, so first we're going to warm this up with this. Now, understanding the difference between wants and needs in our lives helps us prioritize what matters most to us, right? We're prioritizing what matters most to us. And just because something is a want, does not mean it is not a priority. So here is our way of thinking about our wants and our needs, okay? First, we're going to start by defining them. In the definition of needs, it says, needs are required because they are essential or very important, things you need for your survival. So this is typically how we think about needs in life in general. Food, water, shelter, clothing, heat, power, communication, and medication, right? Communication and medication, some people think are borderline, but we'll put those in needs. Then questionable needs. Transportation, is that a need? Security, is that a need? The internet, is that a need? So TV, are those needs in the world we live in? Now we'll talk about the definition of wants. Wants are a desire for something or something wished for, things you enjoy with no quote unquote survival value. Okay? Things that you can consider wants could be a concert, spa trip, dining out for food, a vacation, or some jewelry. Wants. Now, borderline, and apologies if the word borderline is at all activating for anyone. We could talk about the blurred line for wants and needs. These may be required because of your lifestyle or condition, things you may need to function, but vary in type. So, is it a want or a need to have a computer for you? Well, could you have a used one, or do you need a MacBook? Want or need? Clothing, thrift, discount, designer, want or need? Coffee, is that a want or need? Some people consider it like, I need my coffee. You know, cigarettes, if you're addicted to cigarettes, is that a want or need? But an addiction, could that really be considered a need? So I'm giving you the framework for talking about wants and needs, because now we're going to talk about the peer workforce. Okay? Here are the wants and needs for us as peers, peer professionals. And if you're not a peer, think about your own career situation. Again, the needs are required because they're essential or very important, needed for survival. So here are some of the needs that I discuss with peers that they have told me. Fair compensation is a need. Accommodations are a need. Healthcare and benefits are needs for the peer workforce. But check it out. This is what people have told me that our peer wants, not necessarily needed for survival value, but something wished for or desired. Leadership, pay equity, unions, and recognition. Do you think those things are wants or needs, or in that blurred line? Now, the blurred peer wants or needs may be required. You may need them to function as a peer in the workforce, okay? Examples that I have heard are flexible schedule. Is that a need or a want? Flexible schedule. Free continuing education. Look at this conference, okay? Representation on decision-making committees. Is that a need or a want? So this is to warm you all up to start thinking about our peer career wants and needs. Now, this gets us to the activity. And we are going to do this. Let me see, we have 19 people in this group. So what I would like you to do, if you have a piece of paper or you can pull out your Word document, I'm going to take you through this in a few minutes, and you're going to answer these questions for yourself, and then at the group level, and then at the systems level. And then we're going to have a short discussion in groups, okay? So I'm going to take you through it step by step, and you write down these questions. Again, you're here because something is here for leadership for you, and we want to tap into what it is. So let's begin, okay? The first question I want you to answer is individual level change for your peer career. Name one or two career needs that you have as a peer. needs in your career, something that you need for your survival, whether you're getting it or not. Next, name one or two peer career wants that you have, whether you think you can get it or not. Think of your career. These are wants. These are things you desire. Nobody has to see this but you. These are things on an individual level in your career that you want. I'll give you 10 seconds for that. Next, I want you to write down, why aren't either your wants or needs being met? Look at what you wrote down. Why aren't your wants or needs being met? To the best of your ability. Now, jot down briefly what change you think is necessary to get either your needs or wants met. Okay. Now we're going to do one more of these. We're not going to do both group and systems. We're just going to do one more. Okay. We're going to do group and we're going to leave systems, but you have a copy of the slides so you can do this on your own. Now I want you to think about us as a group or collective. What are our collective peer workforce needs? What do we need as a group of peer professionals? What are our needs? Write down one or two things.
Can you repeat?
Yes. The first question for this one is, what are our collective or group needs as a peer workforce? What do we need as a peer workforce? Need, not want, but need, whether we're getting it or not. Write one or two things down that are our absolute needs. We must have this to survive. Next, what are our collective or group peer workforce wants? Things we desire, we wish for. As a collective, not an individual, the peer workforce. This is what we want as a group. This is what we want to have. It's not something we absolutely need to survive, but we want this. Now, what changes do you think are necessary to either get those wants or needs met? What changes are necessary, in your opinion, no matter what you think it is, are necessary? Could be something that you think is impossible, but what changes do you think are needed? And then the last question I'm going to ask, I'm going to skip the next one, is who? Again, who? What people? What groups? What agencies? What collectives or entities are either validating that we have these wants and needs, or invalidating that we have these wants and needs? And make that distinction. Who is validating? Who is saying, you know what? Yes, peers have these wants. We agree with that. Peers have these needs. We agree with that. Or they're saying, no, they don't. You do not. We do not need these things. Okay, we're going to do breakout. Now, we're not going to, oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back. we're not going to do these exact questions. We're going to stick with the questions from this section for the breakout. And I'm going to put you all in breakout groups. And what I would like you all to discuss is if your impression of what you wrote based on your individual wants and needs and the collective wants and needs and your answers to these questions, and if there's anything that stood out to you that was either shocking or is bringing about some new awareness to you or something that you think needs more attention. So really, I want everybody in the group to get a chance to share. So we want to definitely step up and step back. And so we're going to take the next 8 minutes for everyone in the group to give their reflection on their assessment of their individual wants and needs, the collective group wants and needs, and what they think this means for us all in terms of this whole conference moving forward. So Colin, oh, I'm sorry, I keep doing it. Colin?
Yes. Hello?
Okay, I'm trying to do the breakout room. I have 14 people, so I'm just going to do 2. So that's 15. I'm just going to do 2 groups.
Yeah, that
Is
sounds
that
great.
okay?
Yeah, absolutely. You said that you can do it, or would you like me to do it?
I think I can do it.
Okay.
Okay, everyone, we're just going to do this for 7-8 minutes, and then that'll be it. Thank you. Colin, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Mm.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't.
It
It's
looks
not
like
broadcast.
everyone. Sorry, what'd you say?
Everyone joined except one person.
Yes, except one person.
Okay,
And
they
yeah,
might
the only
have.
person. Yeah.
Okay. Are we getting? I can't read the chat. Are we getting? Was there anything in the chat when I asked?
Um,
There's a couple
no.
things.
No, yeah, it was just the answers to when you asked the first question. Can
Okay,
lived
that's fine.
experience lead the revolution? Yeah.
And what time do you have?
Right now I have 10:58. This session is up at 11:45, and if you'd like, I can give you like a 15-minute or a 10-minute warning. Um, yeah.
Okay. I think we're gonna probably finish a little bit early. So I'm just gonna have a discussion question with the group and have 15 minutes for comments and questions. So we might finish about 15 or 20 minutes early. Okay,
Okay. Sure.
thank you.
No problem.
Can you guys still hear me?
I can hear you, Rhonda.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. And I'll just wrap up. And as I was
Oh, I'm
saying,
sorry. You're in the main group now. You're in the main
yes.
group.
Okay. Group 1.
Oh, we'll have you're back in the main room.
Okay.
But you'll have a chance to share in just a second. I think it looks like everyone from room 1 is back in the main room, but we're waiting on room 2. They're going to close in about 5 seconds.
Okay.
So I'll give you a chance. Thanks for letting me know you're back though.
Hey,
Okay, no worries.
Rhonda, sorry. I
Yes.
think you clicked on the button when you saw it and it just interrupted you, but we were listening, so I'm sorry that you weren't able to finish sharing.
No worries. Thank you for the
Well,
opportunity.
we'll have a chance, Rhonda, if you're interested in finishing your share, because it looks like everybody has made it back to the room. So I want to thank everybody for participating. I know sometimes the meetings can go long and we try to keep everybody engaged. So everybody, doesn't lose interest or attention. And I really, really would like to hear from you all to know what came up for you all, or what ideas do you have, because this is a collective learning space where all ideas are welcome, and it's a welcoming, loving environment. So would anybody be willing to share first or share next? I can share first, and then we'll pass it on to someone else. For me, what came up for me when I first worked on this a couple years ago is different than now. I came up with what was coming up for me was just the disempowerment of people with lived experiences is not okay for me. And it's a need to be empowered. It's a need to be in control of services, and also to be in leadership. It's not a want to have leadership as a person with lived experience. It's not a want, it's a need. Even though I put it under want, the leadership, it's really a need for me. Because I think not having leadership in the peer workforce spells disaster and crisis. So I think the leadership is what drives us, and that we should be really the leaders in this change. Nothing about us without us. So I really feel strongly about that. And so for me, it's changing that narrative that leadership for the peer workforce is a want to a need. It is an absolute for me. So would anybody else be willing to speak up and help us learn about, what came up for them? Anybody?
I'll dip in. And I'm sorry I clicked out of the room earlier. What I got out of the individual is I need to reevaluate not what I'm doing, but whom I'm doing it under the umbrella that I'm doing it for. And to really look at those different things and determine personally to be truly effective out there on the firing line, is this the entity that I need to be doing my work through? Does that make
Yes,
sense?
yes, yes. How long did that come up for you today, or has that been an ongoing?
No, I actually, as I was typing this out, I was looking at it and I was like, the support, being on the firing line. And I'm like, because I don't need a lot of affirmation. I just need to see that there is an understanding of this role that is not like any other. And as I said, going into rat infested houses, bringing bed bugs home, meeting people in the Walmart parking lot that are sleeping in their cars.
Rhonda, I'm with you 100%. And I just want to tell you, you said you don't need affirmation. Well, how about some solidarity? Because this gentleman, Tom Troe, in Illinois, sent out a message that he retired today with the state of Illinois as a peer recovery support specialist. And I said to myself, working in this field, for how many years has he worked, and being a leader and doing the work that he does, it's an achievement. I mean, it is a really amazing achievement. And I think the work that we do is not understood, the level of how much internal work and how much work. I mean, people work their jobs, but we work our jobs and we work our lives. Peer support specialists are strong, and I'm with you in solidarity 100%. Trenda has a comment. Would you like to unmute and share, Trenda?
Thank you, Becky. Yeah, so in our group, one of the things I mentioned as an individual need is a living wage, right? To be paid a wage that is commiserate with the experience that I bring to the table, and not just the lived experience that I'm bringing to the table, but the professional experience, the educational experience, looking at the things that I did before I worked in peer support, because all of those are contributing to the skills that I bring to the table. And what I've seen in my experience is other people in other positions being paid a higher wage, but I'm doing the same work that they're doing. So as I shared that in our breakout group, there were lots of nods and yeses, and we really had a rich discussion around that point, that and it's not just a wage for, we oftentimes say living wage. I don't want just a living wage where I'm just surviving. I want to be paid to where I can thrive, right? I didn't come into this profession so that I would have to fight to survive, but that I would be able to bring all that I bring to the table and empower others to be the best that they can be, right? And so I want to thrive, right? I want more than just minimum wage or the bottom of the barrel, but I want to be paid commensurate to what I actually bring to the table. Becky, you are on mute, so we cannot hear anything you're saying.
Okay, that's the beginning of change. Speak. Okay, Trenda, to me, this is the beginning of it. Would anybody, Trenda included, would anybody be interested in next steps? Like maybe creating, I have thought about this, a rubric for how to actually account for our expertise in a way that we can say, this is how much I deserve. So like, maybe Trenda has experience in professional experience in areas that I don't, but if she can document that experience, and her lived experience is this, and her professional experience is this, and her education is this, and her informal education is this. And so we can actually say to employers, you know what, we have a standardized type of tool that we can say, yeah, we're not all the same that come into the field, just like in your field, not everybody is the same. Like I talked about Tom, he's been working in the field for 20 plus years. I haven't been working in the field 20 plus years. So when he comes in with this, and then I come in with my buffet of lived experience expertise, and you've been on these boards, so that's a whole other expertise that you have. If you all are interested, and Trenda, I think what you're saying is the next phase of what we need to do. We're talking about it. Let's do it. So if people are interested, I would be willing to put together a committee of people that actually works with the national, we could work with SHARE, we can work with National Association of Peer Supporters, and actually say we are standardizing a tool that we believe is going to change us from working for minimum wage minimum, because they think the minimum is a high school diploma, so they only have to pay us minimum wage, whatever the state is, to say, no, this is a whole different thing. So if people are interested, please let me know, because I think Trenda spoke the truth. Thank you, Trenda. Does anybody have any other thoughts? Please put your email in the chat if you're interested, and or send it to me, and I will contact you afterwards for this, because I will contact National Association of Peer Supporters today. Okay, T-Mac, you have a thought. Can you unmute and share?
Yeah, one thing I didn't get to bring up in the breakout room was one issue that I've had in finding a position is that, at least in my state, the positions are mostly for recovery, like substance use disorder. And if you haven't had lived experience in that area, you're not eligible for those types of jobs. And for like the mental health side of things, there's not very many opportunities because they're not billable for medical assistance. I think that needs to change, especially, 2020 opened a lot of people's eyes about the state of mental health in the United States and probably other places throughout the world. And some people can't afford a therapist, or some people choose not to seek a therapist. They feel more comfortable working with a peer. And I would like to be able to be a part of that and to be able to help people that are struggling with mental health concerns.
So let me make sure I understand, T-Mac, because I want to make sure I understand. You're saying in your state, they have different certifications for the substance use lived experience and the mental health lived experience, and some of the career opportunities are only for substance use and they're not for the mental health lived experience?
I took the same certification as somebody that would do the substance use, but because I don't have the lived experience, I am not able to work in that area. So I have
Oh,
the
I
same
see.
training, but I'm not able to work in that
Yep,
area
I
because, yeah, I mean, I shouldn't have to take up drinking or something to be able
oh
to help
no,
people.
no, we don't want to publish that. Like you drove us to
No.
drinking to get a job, right? No, it's a joke. I get it. Oh, but yeah, I agree with you what you were saying, and other people may have thoughts on this. If you do, chime in. Because the idea is, I know a lot of people who have told me, I'd rather talk to a peer coach. I'd rather talk to a peer navigator. I'd rather talk to a peer specialist. Or when my recovery got better, it's actually, I mean, I had therapists and I was this, that, and the other. But when I talked to a peer support specialist, that's when things started to turn around. And that's when things happen. And so the idea, TMAC, is how are we going to actually create that opportunity? It sounds like in your state, I don't know if you all have a state organization for peer support specialists that is mobilizing around this. But if you want to email me afterwards, we have an organization in Illinois, and we would be able to connect and see maybe if we can work on some things. Other people might have ideas. Great point you brought up. Ruth, would you like to unmute and share next? Okay.
Yes, there definitely is. I'm in Iowa, and there is that same type of conundrum. We have one certification exam for both peer support specialists and recovery coaches. And nothing against recovery coaches. I love CCAR. I love, they're just a little more organized than we are as peer supports sometimes. And they're a little more vocal. And so that's an opportunity for us who have mental health experience to say, look at the comorbidity between substance use disorder and mental health conditions. I may not have picked up a substance use disorder. However, I still have disordered thinking and disordered behaviors that definitely are addictive in nature. So removing the silos between the two, and yet it feels like we're being put in competition for those dollars that come into the
Wow.
state.
You are right. You know what? I think we just tapped into something very, very real in a lot of states. Ruth, thank you for validating what TMAC said, because I think this is a serious thing. The tension between the substance use and mental health recovery certifications and job situation and training situation, this is unresolved. And it's kind of like the elephant in the room, so to speak, and nobody is really saying anything about it, and we just keep on keeping on. But we need to address this head on and deal with some of the stigma and preconceived notions we have about each other as a group in our recovery, and who gets these jobs and who gets these opportunities and who gets this funding. I'm going to write this down. We need to address this. Thank you. And Jethro, would you like to unmute and share next? And then we'll take Megan, and then we'll move on. Okay.
Sure, thank you. I thought that was a great comment, and I'm happy they brought it up. And I'm in New York City, and in our state, there's two different avenues to be a peer. One's called a certified peer recovery advocate, which is substance use, and one's called a certified peer specialist, OMH, which is Office of Mental Health, and then Office of Addiction Support and Services. And you're correct; they're completely different certifications. What I found is that the substance use one became more prevalent because money was involved. Medicaid decided to compensate providers because it was substance use. And so I believe the National Association of Peer Support is actually trying to, in SAMHSA, create one that says either or. All the literature is going to say and either mental health or substance use, which would bring it all into one category. And I think it's important. We need to. It doesn't make any sense. In our state, there's two different certifications, there's two different education processes, there's all different trainings, they're completely different. And then two different certification boards, it's senseless. But I think that one of the things as a peer I had to learn is that we are change agents. The friction we feel, I have to get used to it. Get used to it. It's not going to, this is what we have to do to change the program, change the system for the peers 15 years later. Meaning we're change agents. We have to get used to this friction. It's going to be like this. And this is what we're doing to try to make a change. I mean, women used to not be able to vote. And those change agents made that happen. Now they do vote. It was so ridiculous. And same thing here. How they don't value peers is ridiculous. Hopefully in 15 years, they're going to see that. But just remember, what we're doing is extremely valuable. I have times when I want to give up and I say, I can't give up because 15 years from now, that person is going to benefit from it.
You know, amen to that, Jethro. I'm with you 100%. And thank you for bringing out the point that there are funding and power structures at work with some of what we're doing, but we are change agents. I am with you 100%. And I think you're right. We have to get our collective voice and decide for the next 15 years. I think that is really the message. We need to really find out how we feel about these changes that are being made and these decisions that are being made about us. Maybe they're happening without us and we didn't even realize it. So I agree 100%. Megan, would you like to wrap us up for the discussion portion?
Sure. Thank you, and thank you everyone for your valuable insights. You know, for me, I'm actually not in the States. I'm in Canada currently, and I'm not sure if this is happening in parts of the United States, but what really what came up for me, especially like with the funding perspective, is I know for me personally, when I started to learn about lived expertise, and like the value in pay, really there's still a lot of power struggles going on here. Like, I mean, I've been a part of a lot of projects where I thought I was, I thought I was like equal, but I mean, like there are a lot of researchers, a lot of people, frontline workers, and then I realized afterwards, that they didn't really see me like that, and meanwhile, like, and I'm not discrediting, very high paying positions like that. That's not my point. But I mean, but the point I'm trying to make is that, like, you have really advanced individuals that have degrees in research, and they're making a lot of money, whereas like the lived experts are getting like $250 honorariums, and they're essentially just advocating to leaders about this is what needs to be done, taking the research from it, and then like the lived expert is kind of just left in the dust. And I thought, wow. And I just had an experience like that, and yeah, it's unbelievable.
Well, Megan, I want to say I appreciate you bringing this up and adding to this discussion, because I think it really solidifies in my mind for sure that I think we have to take personal responsibility for part of this as a peer workforce. We have to communicate what it means to recover and to have wellness. And I think that a lot of people outside, they may say like, oh, well, you're working as a peer and you're doing this and you overcame everything, but I don't think they get it. I don't think part of it is that they just say, oh, well, you only should make $12 or $15 an hour because you barely have any education or anything like that. I don't think they see the value of what education we have from what we've went through. I think we have to literally spell it out. And that's why I asked for people who are interested in working on this. I think we have to spell it out, like, this is worth your $25 an hour, your $30 an hour when we're, and so on. Like, this is why we should be paid, because when you are institutionalized, when you've been in a hospital, when you recover from that, when you have to do a crisis plan, when you learn all these skills, when you interact with systems, We have to show just how valuable it is. And, you know, I'm in, you guys. I'm all in. And I just want to tell you, I'm getting strength from this group. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. I want to close the presentation. There'll be a couple minutes in case anybody has any other final comments, but I want to close the presentation to make sure I get through the slides I have. We're going to just skip through. Give me 1 second, and we will close so you all can take a break and get to your next meeting. But this has been very powerful. Okay. So right here, I just want to show you. Can you see this slide? Okay. So I just want to show you one thing that I did is I worked on 365 wellness and recovery for myself. As a peer specialist, I started working on transformation one day at a time through introspection, and I wrote it out. I actually created a resource for peer professionals, a guidebook. So it deals with these wants and needs that we talked about. It deals with every day. There's a new lesson in how to get to that transformation and how to make this stuff happen so that we can reflect on it. And so this is in your slides. I'm not going to go through this, but it's how we can teach peer transformation and some of the tools that I found through using your personal experience, through supporting, organizing, and joining others. Collaboration, that's one of the things we did today. We're going to collaborate. Some of us are going to connect afterwards on some projects. We're going to change the narrative that we're not entry-level people. We're a couple token of us, you know, happen to make it up there and make a couple extra dollars, but that we are really valuable and just as valuable as clinicians, if not more, potentially, we're going to find in this system. Get seats at the table. We are the leadership. And through our everyday choices, like coming here today and sharing our experience and connecting with others, we are doing this work. So I want to thank everybody for coming out today for the presentation. This has been amazing. I really had a great time. I'm going to stop the share and ask if there are any final thoughts or questions before we wrap up.
Yeah, Becky, this is Darcel, and I'm from
Hi, Darcel. Welcome. Another familiar face. How are you doing?
Yeah, okay. So, you know, I would like to connect with you and work on that. I'm in agreement. You know, I hold a CADC and a COPD plus a CR, the certified recovery.
Darcel, you're breaking up a little bit, but you hold the CADC, COPD.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, now you're clear.
Oh, wow.
Maybe you got to turn off your video.
Okay. Yeah, so, you know, I sometimes turn off my video.
There you go. Now we can
you hear me now?
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
So, you know, I just kind of like look at the jobs and, you know, especially in Indiana, these jobs are extremely low. So, you know, with me working in Chicago, it's almost like a $5 difference. But even when you look at some of the job descriptions that they have, it's a lot of work to do, a whole lot of work, which veers me away from not even wanting to be able to, you know, take some of those positions because it's more work than the therapists and stuff get paid. Some of these jobs I look at, they $40-$45 an hour, and they have the same criteria as the recovery support specialist for $20-$25 an hour. Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would like to link with you, you know, and being able to work on that.
Darcel, we will connect, and I'm going to add you to the group. I've collected all the email addresses, and I know how to get connected to you. And so you're absolutely right. Sometimes, you know, some of us as peers, we end up working in non-peer jobs because they pay more. And then they get to take advantage of hiring a peer in a non-peer job. And it's like, well, we're making more, but they're getting the credit. it's a mess. So we're going to change the system, and I'm with you. But now that we have the evidence from our experience, now we can make the case. So thank you, Darcel. And then T-Mac,
Okay.
I have a comment from you.
Yes, I was thinking about what you were saying about evidence. My educational background, I think, would be very helpful in showing the value of peer supporters. Um, I have a master's degree in engineering. I did a lot of statistical analysis. So I would be able to convert like what peer supporters do and like the difference between like before and after type of thing to show like with data the value of peer support. And it's kind of hard to argue with data. I mean, so I would like to be a part of this and to help kind of show the value of peer support using data.
T-Mac, can you send me your email or put it in the chat to me, because I don't have it, and I would like you to be a part of the group. I think we have something really powerful. I'm not just saying that. I haven't heard this before, and I don't know anybody that's working on it. So I think if we get this put together in a nice, pretty document and put all our names on it and present this maybe to SHARE or National Association of Peer Supporters, we really might be working with something very special for the future of this movement. So I want to thank everybody, everybody for coming out today. I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you to Colin for co-hosting the meeting, and he will give you the final information on how to get your CEUs. And if you enjoyed this, please let the conference presenters know so I may have a chance to present again. Thank you all.